Okay, I'd like to call the City of Elkhorn Common Council August 15th, 5:30 meeting to order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Roll call, please.
Bruce Lechner,
Here.
Tim Sharota,
Here.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Here.
Ron Dunwoody,
Here.
Scott McClory,
Here.
Ken Minell,
Here.
Carol Young.
Next, we have public comment. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes each. The public may speak on any item of the city concern, whether or not the topic is included on this agenda. However, if the topic does not pertain to an item listed on the council agenda, the council is not permitted to address or discuss the matter during this meeting. Under open meeting laws, the council must notice an item on the agenda to allow discussion on that matter. If council is not permitted to discuss your concerns, your comments will be considered and may be placed on a future agenda for further discussion. We have anybody for public comment tonight? Sure, come on up to the podium, and if you could state your name and address and kind of speak into the microphone if you could, please.
My name is John Bruce. I live at 34 Monica Drive, Elkhorn, Wisconsin. I have a permit that I surrendered to the city of Elkhorn, and I was wondering, I went through the code, I went the way I was supposed to do it. The guy I'm doing it with is from Lowe's. His name's Jason, and he gave me all the paperwork, and I put it over to you guys. And it's like, I don't know what happened. I got a dog that my son's dog. He comes down every day. My neighbor took his fence down, and he said he wasn't going to replace it. So I said, I'm going to do it. Well, now I'm at a standstill, and I would like a movement on this so I can get this fence started. He's going to call the Diggers Hotline. They do everything at Lowe's. So I don't know what my holdup is here. I'm going to go tomorrow and see if I can get that permit so I can get this thing started, so I can get my son's dog back down to the house. I got to put him on a leash and everything, and he's not used to that. So that's my only thing I got to say for tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Adam, Bonnie's in the office at 8 tomorrow? Usually 9. 9 o'clock tomorrow, Bonnie will be in the office, so that would be the best stop to stop in there. Anybody else for public comment?
Hello, my name is David Crosby. I'm a long life resident of the city of Elkhorn, and I live at 39 Monica Drive. I was reviewing the Common Council meeting minutes from August 1st, and under public comment, it states that David Crosby of 39 Monica Drive read a prepared statement to the council regarding water issues at his residence. I'd like to bring clarity to this. The issue is not water. The issue is what's caused, the cause of the flooding of my home. So to bring clarity, I've prepared a new statement, so it's read into record and recorded and published accordingly. The city of Elkhorn committed multiple counts of willful negligence in the permitting process of Elkhorn West subdivision. As a result, I no longer maintain the right to quiet enjoyment, as my residence is now under perpetual threat of damaging trespass made by the city of Elkhorn. Nothing in this is stating anything to do with water. It has to do with the actions that's resulted in the trespass. Thank you for being generous with your time. And I gotta go back to work. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does council want these separated, or in case there's any questions, or would you like me to do them all together?
Move that we do them all together.
Fine with keeping them together now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep them all together then. So we got the council meeting minutes of August 1st, 2022. The temporary Class B beer and wine license for St. Patrick's Parish at 107 West Waller Street for a summer celebration, August 20th, 2022, from 6:30 to 9 p.m. We have a temporary Class B beer and wine license for the Nicholas D. Sergi Foundation at 622 East Court Street for the Family Farm and Faith Festival on October 1st, 2022, from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we have the temporary Class B beer license for the Warwick County Agricultural Society at the Warwick County Fairgrounds for a light show on October 8th, 2022, from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve all four.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Can I add one thing?
Now that we have a second, yes.
Thank you. For item C, we do need a list of licensed bartenders. So could we make that one contingent upon receiving the list of licensed bartenders? Thank you.
I'll amend my motion to show that item C, we're waiting for licensed bartenders.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for all four. Next, we have presentation, Dale Brockert, the PE, lead civil engineer, Foth Infrastructure and Environment, the project status report number 2.
I'm gonna stay seated so I can run the mouse here. But can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So there was a project update included in the agenda items, which lists all of the work that Foth is currently doing. I guess I just want to open up to any questions on that, if anyone had anything marked down. Basically, it summarizes everything that Foth is doing. There's several ongoing projects, so it's all summarized in there. If there's any questions, feel free to email us. But I wanted to point out a couple things specifically here. One is in, and I'm going to zoom in, you guys can see this, the lead service replacement project on the utility side owned lead, which is the portion that's under the road between the water main and the curb box. So that project is ongoing right now. You've probably seen some construction around town. This is a little snip of the 6 laterals that are done already. And so basically they focused on Washington Street, South Washington to start. There's one on Washington they're yet waiting on some homeowner coordination for, but other than that, after Washington is complete, they're moving the crew to Rockwell and Wisconsin for the next focus area. So that's going well. Client action items, we call them. So that's highlighted in yellow and then also summarized down below that you'll see, and those are the 2 items on the agenda tonight for approval. So the first item is what we're calling the pilot study at the Lakeland Water Treatment Plant. So this plant requires an upgrade to increase its capacity of treatment it can do from roughly 800 gallons a minute up to 1,600 gallons a minute. That increased capacity allows the downtown plant to come offline eventually. So we need to get this done first before that happens. So we have already started doing some concept design and some meetings with the DNR and the PSC on this project. Everything is looking really good on their end. And so they have now required the project to undergo a pilot study. Basically, a pilot study is a small mini treatment plant on a skid that they bring in, and it simulates this new HMO chemical treatment that's going to be part of the new process, and they want to prove out the exact dose of the HMO chemical that needs to be injected. So DNR likes to see that. It's not always required, but most times it is for plant upgrades. So it wasn't a surprise at all. But it's a requirement of the DNR approving this project. So we're asking, the first item highlighted there is for the city to cut a purchase order to Water Surplus. That's the vendor that undergoes the actual pilot study work. We support them, but ultimately they have a purchase order. So that purchase order, I sent the details over to Adam and Tim, but it's $8,000 for them to do this. And then Foth supports that. So any questions on the HMO pilot study? Okay. So the other portion of the Lakeland treatment plant, and I want to show you a visual of this. Right below that. Lakeland plant, the brick building. And then there's a building expansion. It's not a very large expansion, but it's contains 3 different rooms. 2 of the rooms are new chemical feed rooms for the larger amounts of chemical that need to go in. 1 is an existing chemical, chlorine. The other is the new HMO chemical that needs a new room. So there's 2 rooms for chemical feed, and then there's an additional room for storage that's needed there. So that's the concept of the project that the DNR and the PSC has blessed up to this point. But we're asking now to move forward with the true 30% design, which includes an extensive survey out at the site, CAD drawings, calculations for chemical feed, some preliminary electrical and control work, and also scoping of other improvements that the building needs. So we're trying to get a leg up on our schedule by starting the 30% in parallel to the pilot study that will go on there. So that's the second action item, is approval for Foth to begin and complete the 30% design. So that's everything that we need from the city to move forward with the current projects. If you're curious, I did include a photo of what a pilot study looks like. A lot of tubes and tanks and controls and things to simulate a mini treatment plant. So that's what that is, if you're curious. Any questions on those 2 items? Okay. Next thing I wanted to share, and this is in the works, different topic entirely, but as far as the lead laterals within the city, the utility versus the private, which again, the utility is under the street, generally speaking, and the private is in the front yards of the residents. So we've taken the mapping that we started this a while ago as a requirement to the DNR, but we're on, I guess we've kind of broken through to the next level of mapping, which allows us now to maintain a spreadsheet with every single parcel in the city. And as data comes in from the utility workers or as-builts that are uncovered throughout the city, we're able to update the spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet is linked to this GIS map. So we can very quickly update and maintain a service map. So what you're seeing on here, this is the utility side. Green means no lead, blue means unknown, and red means very high likelihood of lead. This is under the street between the water main and the curb box. So this clearly shows here the targets for 2023, 2024. Wright Street is one here with known lead. It's also a 4-inch water main, which those tend to go hand in hand. And then West Jefferson here is a real high probability pocket. So as time goes on, you're gonna see projects coming up to remove that lead in the near future. And then the blue areas are still being investigated. So we're maintaining a map now that's very easy to update as data comes in for both the utility side and then this is the private side. So I skipped by these numbers here, but on the private side, we're estimating once all the unknowns are uncovered, we'll probably be down to about 600 private side lead services. And you're undergoing a current project right now. Dawn at the city's administering it. You received about $500,000 from the DNR to tackle the private side this year. So there's about 55 of these being replaced this year. And hopefully the funding will continue for at least 5 more years like that. So although 600 seems like a large number, it's going to be chipped away at pretty aggressively if these programs keep coming and the funding still keeps coming from DNR. Back to the utility side, I believe we've got about 150, if we had to pick a number right now, remaining, and we're continually uncovering more data to validate or unvalidate that. So just want to let you know a lot is going on as far as Elkhorn lead, along with the rest of the states dealing with this exact same problem. The DNR is cracking the whip a bit on this, so we're trying to get you guys ahead of the curve with really smart mapping and a way to manage this and plan for the years to come. So wanted to share that.
Thank you, and we'll bring those up on the new business items. Next, we have bills payable, consideration and recommendation to pay $3,097,082.32. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the pay to bills with the number you listed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on any of the bills in your packet? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes. Yes.
Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Carol Young, Tim Sharota.
Yes. Motion passed to pay the city bills. Next, report of city officers. Mayor, I have nothing tonight. Adam?
Well, I was going to just give a quick praise to FOTH. They've been doing a really great job for us thus far. They're really proactive, accessible. They've been working not only on some of the things that you saw and talked about tonight, but they've been helping us recently with our Harvest Point development agreement, trying to verify the flows up by that new development. They've been actually working with Ward on getting the easement for the new gravity sewer line up by Highway 12. So there's just a lot of different things that they've been involved with. So I do want to commend them and for everything they've done thus far. In terms of other updates, as I just kind of mentioned, we are making good progress on the development agreement for the Harvest Point condos. We're getting very, very close. Now it seems like it's just stormwater. That's the only thing that's outstanding. And that's more on the developer's end right now than us. So, they're trying to work with their developer to, I guess, make some revisions to the proposed stormwater management plan. I just wanted to thank Stephanie Smith, our office manager. She stepped in and helped with payroll most recently when our payroll clerk was out on vacation. So it's good to have some backup and have somebody else trained. So in case somebody's unavailable, so kudos to Stephanie. I know Corey Daly also helped with that. So thank you, Corey. I know. So wanted to note that the school has gotten 7 applicants for the community grant writer position. We're going to be doing apparently some screening of that here shortly. So I guess they're going to have them do some video interviews, and hopefully I'm not stealing your thunder, Chris. Sorry. Yeah, so I guess I'll let Chris maybe add more that she wants to talk about. But so that's I think that's gonna be it. So for me, if the council has some more questions.
Thank you, Adam. Next, report on liaison committee meetings. Fire advisory. Nothing really, Rod? I think that's on the end of new business.
Yeah, it's on the agenda for new
We'll keep it
business.
down. Yeah, it's on the agenda, so. Library.
Chad wanted me to highlight a program going on at the library on August 25th at 6:30 PM. It's called the Culvert Case Program. A description of that is that on August 24th, 1928, the body of a young woman was discovered in a ditch culvert 3 miles outside of Elkhorn. Despite a year-long investigation and sensational nationwide press coverage, this murder was never solved, nor was the victim ever identified. Join Elkhorn Mayor Bruce Lechner, Elkhorn Police Chief Joel Christensen, City Attorney Ward Phillips, and the Culvert case researcher and author E.J. Voss for a detailed look at the notorious case and how the investigation would be conducted differently today. This program is sponsored by the Walworth County Historical Society.
Tim? Next, Recreation Advisory.
Yep, we met on August 10th last week. There's an item that is from a recommendation for the Park and Rec Advisory Board on tonight's agenda, and we're still verifying a meeting for September.
Thank you. Chamber. Chris?
Microphone.
You can move way up.
All right, Adam gave the fun part as we have, I believe, 7 applicants for the grant writer position. So we're excited about that and going to be moving forward as a group and looking at some videos and the resumes and then going from there. Saturdays on the Square for the Chamber will continue through Labor Day. That will be the last weekend. Then we are facilitating the volunteer nonprofit organizations again for the Walworth County Fair for the ticket booths and behind the bars. And we are working with the Walworth County Fairgrounds and Walworth County Lights. As you know, the first weekend in December was typically our parade and Santa reception, and times have changed a few things. We had developed an event called Let It Glow, and that will continue, but then also the following 3, possibly 4 weekends, there could be a lighted display. Last year, we were very fortunate enough in having about 50,000 LED lights on the fairgrounds in the park pavilion. If everything works out this year, it could be a closer number to 500,000 lights on the park, in the park and against the building. So I think we'll probably have to come back and figure out if there's any light issues, like how many lights I can have somewhere in a highly dense area or anything like that. But I guess we'll talk with Lacey and see where that needs to go. Also, one thing I want to bring to everyone's attention, and we have also been working with the restaurants and different things downtown. On August 20th, there will be a Pop Warner football tournament / scrimmage on the Elkhorn High School, middle school, all over the place. There are 58 teams from the Southern Lakes, Racine, Kenosha to the state line that will be playing football that day. So we will be influxed with, I think, starting at 4th grade to 8th grade. So there's some that is low contact to complete contact. So there'll be lots of cars because they don't drive. So that's going to be another challenge that we have around town. Otherwise, that's really all I have. The summer has been going really well. And thanks to the support of, again, the different departments from the city for helping us with all of our events for, truck and shuck and different things that we have going on. So we could not do it without your help and assistance. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
And Mayor, would it be possible to reopen my report real quick? I was too rattled by disappointing Chris, and I forgot one very important item, which was the election update.
Sure,
So I
go
just
right
wanted
ahead.
to.
Skip it.
No. So, I do want to commend Lacey and our deputy clerk Sarah and everybody who was involved with the election last Tuesday, the primary. Public Works was really helpful. They had this entire room set up, as well as putting signs all around outside of City Hall, and as well as the office staff that helped throughout the absentee balloting process. So, Lacey, do you want to give an update on how the election went?
The election was great. Adam gave you some numbers on the amount of people that were voting in person. It was 1,503 Election Day voters. We did have 105 Election Day registrations, which was quite high for an August primary. I do anticipate lines You will all probably stand in a line wherever you vote. But in November, some stats for our past years. November of 2020, we had 345 Election Day registrations. November of 2018, there was 401. And November of 2016 was 495. I really hope that number is smaller this November, but I don't anticipate it being that much smaller. So if you like to stand in line, you are welcome to register on Election Day, or you can register beforehand by mail online at myvote.wi.gov. If you wait until 20 days, within the 20-day period before the election, you will have to register with your clerk in person. Even though they don't stop online registration, it will not go through to your clerk, so please keep that in mind and register early. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for accommodating that.
Nope, no problem, thank you. Next, new business. We have the discussion and possible decision regarding proposal from water surplus to study radium removal from HMO addition. We just heard that presentation. I think what we need is a purchase order not to exceed $8,000, is that what it was?
Yes, Mayor.
I'll make that motion to approve the not to exceed $8,000.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Carol Young,
Yes.
Scott McClory.
Yes.
Motion passed. Next, we have discussion and possible decision regarding request from Falls Infrastructure Environment LLC to proceed with up to a 30% design of Lakeland water treatment plant improvements for costs not to exceed $50,000.
I'll make that motion to approve not to exceed $50,000.
Sorry, Mayor, I hate to, and Alderman,
Well,
Alderman
hold on, we gotta wait. Now, we have a motion.
Sorry.
Now we need do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Okay, Adam, we can discuss now.
Yeah, sorry, and this one's on me. I had a typo. It should have been 70,000. You'll see in my memo to you, I mentioned 70,000, and Foth's task order, it said 70,000. I misread and typed in 50, so that is on me, so.
And your-
I will amend my motion not to exceed $70,000 US dollars.
Second, Ron? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody, Carol Young, Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell.
Yes.
Motion passed to move forward with that 30% design at Lakeland Water Treatment Improvements. Next, we have discussion regarding proposed concept plan for the cold storage facility and additional storage buildings on parcels located on the south side of Coopin Lane and the east end of Arnold Avenue. The concept plan submitted by Karen Moran, Kingdom Farms, Patrick Moon, Sweet and Meyer, agent. They did come to Plan Commission and brought this up, and they just want to kind of show what's going on again. And if there's any input from council members, Plan Commission did like the plan now and everything, so they just want to get council's blessing too.
Okay, when do you want me to speak?
What's that?
When can I speak?
We'll let them,
Okay, go ahead.
So again, it's Patrick DeMoon of Sweet and Mayer on behalf of the applicant, Special Teams LLC, that currently owns the 2 parcels of land. And again, it's the cold storage project that we previously discussed. Just to briefly recap, what we're looking to do is, on the other slide you had it, but you can keep that one. There's 2 parcels of land that are now owned by my client. We want those annexed into the city. We want the 2 parcels then rezoned M1 in keeping with the city's smart growth plan. We'd want them combined with the little parcel to the northwest right there, currently owned by the city that my client is under contract to purchase. And then we're gonna combine everything with a CSM into 2 parcels, an east half and a west half. Now, the west half will still have the cold storage building as previously described, but the last time we were here, we lacked visibility as to what's gonna happen with the east half of the property, and now we have some more detail that we can share with you tonight. So the east half will transition away from the more intense cold storage use to less intensive uses as you head towards County Highway H on the far east end of the property there. East half will be gated on all access points. There's one on the right there off of Highway H, and then two on the kind of north and south ends of the east property. And no access will be given to the cold storage facility or its operators. Their only access will remain from within the business park, either off of Arnold Avenue or Koopman Lane. So there'll be no through traffic for any trucks or any other operators related to that cold storage facility. Now, you can see on this, nearest to the cold storage facility on the east half of the property, the parking spaces there will be storage for boats and RVs and driver-owned semi-trucks. There will be no idling or loading of any vehicles permitted there, just parking. This, we think, should help get some of these vehicles out of the residential neighborhoods and subdivisions located in the city. Some people consider them eyesores, and some HOAs actually have restrictions from parking this type of vehicle next to a residential structure. So hopefully this will be a nice outlet for some people that don't have that option to park it near their home. After that, moving further east, you can see we're going to have some self-storage mini warehouse buildings there that will provide additional screening of the cold storage building from sight and hopefully also baffle some of the sound emanating from the cold storage facility. And then all the way to the east along County Highway H and then kind of making an S-curve there, we're going to construct an earthen berm which will also shield this entire development from sight and hopefully further mitigate any sound coming from the cold storage facility. So all of these uses, by the way, require CUPs, so we'll have more detail for you when we actually apply for those CUPs. But tonight we're looking for your comments and concerns just to make sure we're still moving in the right direction on this. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Matt, can you go up to the upper right corner where that driveway is by McLean and H and the church? So if this is where you're proposing a driveway. I would recommend that you take that driveway out and have no access off of Highway H. You've got the church parking lot, you got the neighborhood, and you got Highway H. The traffic there is already a concern. And if you got people that don't normally tow stuff and going in and out of here, we're going to have a big problem. Ideally, if people are going into this storage stuff, have them come through the industrial park like you got laid out, but do not allow them to go on to Highway H. I would say put the berm the whole way, because you will have problems with the church letting in or getting out, the neighborhood, as well as the traffic that's going up and down Highway H.
Where's the church in relation?
Right-
Is that just to the
right
north
there.
there?
Yep.
Okay.
And being McLean is one of two main entrances and exits for the neighborhood. And top it off, the speed limit goes from 55 to 45 right in that area.
Okay, so your recommendation would be to have all the access coming in from the industrial park?
That is correct.
The ingress and the egress.
Yes,
Both.
everything.
Yeah.
There's no way to get onto Highway H from your property. And then you can put the berm all the way across to the property line. This is my screen, by the way, not that one. It's not gonna move.
Any other,
Is that a consensus view or?
Well, being someone that lives out there and seeing what the traffic is every day, I would look to my colleagues and say, this is what would be best for our area.
And that's your district.
And that's my district on top of it.
Right.
I do also.
Yeah.
any other concerns or questions, discussion?
I do like the adding the storage in there to help break up the sound. I think that's wonderful.
I did bring that up at Plan Commission too, I like that. It
Mhm.
should block a lot,
Right.
with the berm and everything.
Right, and there won't be any surprises that all of a sudden, oh, we're putting something in there, it's gonna be louder. So, thank you.
Any other questions, discussion?
What about stormwater?
Yeah, with the stormwater, thanks for bringing that up, is I do know the church sometimes has water issues since some of the other berms have been put in place on the property. It used to be Petrie's. And then also dealing with Hudapack and stuff like that. So we want to make sure we don't put any more water in the church parking lot.
That would all be taken care of with the engineer, should be in all part of the agreement.
Just want to make sure it's not an oversight, because I did have a conversation with the pastor recently, and he was talking about water issues that he's been fighting with out there.
That they have on their property existing.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the berm that was added to the property to the north of them created a situation. And that was added probably 25, 30 years ago. So they've had some issues out there.
Where is this farm in relation to?
Right in between the church and the other building right there. There you go, perfect.
Okay.
Questions or discussion? Concerns? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have discussion and possible decision on CUP for the Walworth County Public Safety Radio Tower at 1770 County Road NN, tax key YVSE 000031. This did go through Plan Commission and did get approved. We have officer here. He can answer any questions if we have. Welcome.
Hoping I've done such a good job presenting this, but I will be happy to talk a little bit about the project.
You can just talk a little bit about the project if you'd like, just to bring them up to date.
Absolutely. As you may or may not know, the county is replacing our current public safety radio system, which dates from the 1980s. It is a current single tower transmitter site, and it no longer effectively covers the county in all corners of the county. So we are in the process of replacing that downtown tower. We're going to put up a 300-foot radio tower on the backside of the Judicial Center behind the Sheriff's Office, and that is going to be the core site of the main system. But the system is going to be comprised of 11 simulcasted radio sites, which will provide good coverage and interoperability to all public safety throughout the county. That includes police, fire, EMS, and public works. And it will be an interoperable system, meaning that all agencies in the county will be able to effectively communicate with each other. And so as part of it, we need to put up 11 tower sites, and this is going to be the main one. The downtown tower will eventually come down, and as will the building.
Council, any questions? Motion for action?
I'll make that motion.
To approve the CUP?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for the CUP. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. Next, discussion and possible decision regarding use of park impact fees for installation of playground equipment at Tash Park. Everybody seen Carl memo in there? And there's a recommendation from the Park and Rec Board.
Yes, yeah, we did recommend that, and I do like to make a motion to approve it. However, the quote does say Babe Man Park, and it should be Tash Park, just for reference. That's coming from the people that are going to donate the property, just so it's correct on the record.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Carol Young,
Yes.
Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody.
Yes.
Motion passed. And Carl, can you make sure that that does get clarified to Tash?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have discussion and possible decision regarding declaration of surplus vehicles and equipment and authorization to sell surplus items. They were all listed in your packet from Matt. If anybody has any questions, or if we can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to follow through with Matt's recommendation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on those items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for the declaration of surplus vehicles and equipment. Next, discussion and possible decision regarding final pay application and change order number 1 for the 2021 sewer rehabilitation project. Everybody seen that in their packet? Questions? Or would you like to have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, then make the final pay for $81,059.11.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Carol Young,
Yes.
Tim Sharota.
Yes.
Motion passed for final pay application and change order number 1. Discussion and possible decision regarding bids for 2022 Elkhorn Sewer Rehabilitation Project.
It's okay, I'd like to maybe start off with some clarification regarding the project. So we opened bids a few weeks back, and it obviously came in higher than the estimate. The estimate was based on information that we had at the time from another project, and is what our engineer did was they used the same percentage of manholes that were looked at in that basin and assumed that maybe that would be about the same percent of manholes that we would see in ones that we are currently inspecting. So that number grew from, they had included for the budget, when we were talking about it in 21, they had included, let's see my notes real quick, 150 manholes, and the current project, based on the inspection as we completed it internally and with the help of ATI, ended up being 285. So the project grew quite a bit, obviously, almost double the size. So that's part of the reason why you see the increase with regards to the estimate versus what we actually saw. They talk about cost savings within the project that you guys previously, the council previously approved. But it doesn't take into account things like Market Street. So I sat down with Corey last week and we talked about where we're currently at with our budget for 2022 and bond funds. If the council chose to move forward with this project, we would have a remainder of $29,400 for a contingency if this project were to go out of scope during construction. So I just wanted to provide that clarification. Hope that helps. If you have any questions. I do want to mention one more quick thing. So if the council chooses to, this is a project where we can move forward with one section or a combination of any sections. You don't have to choose all 3 if we didn't want to. There's obviously this many manholes identified during inspection that needed rehabilitation. But if, with it being over budget, again, the funds are available. But if you wanted to cut back on it, you could choose to do one section or 2 or none. It's up to council.
Council, any questions?
Can you give me in layman's terms what you mean when, these manholes are in disrepair or, are, damaged? What exactly would we be doing?
It's kind of listed out on the, I don't know what sheet it is in the packet. It's right after the letters, but we're installing internal seals and basically epoxying the inside of the manhole. So as we inspect them, if they're
So the seals are what's bad, not the asphalt, not the lid, not the whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. It's
That
all
helps.
the inside of the manhole. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And can you explain for everybody else's benefit, what's the purpose of that, please?
To reduce I&I.
Okay.
To reduce inflow and infiltration.
I want that in minutes too. So is it your opinion that it would be best for the city if we can financially absorb it to go ahead and knock them all out now versus doing it piecemeal?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's kind of where I was leaning, but I wanted to see if there was a differing of opinion. I'm guessing the price could go up or, or you say you're gonna get to it and the proverbial kick the can down the street, would bite us in the butt. So, I mean, if we can figure out a way to satisfy Tim Sharota, then I would say we should go ahead and I would say we should go ahead and bite the bullet and knock them all out now while we can, and with the same company and the same whatever, and not piecemeal it. That's my opinion.
Is that your motion, Scott?
Sure.
So we have a motion to do the project and what Matt came up with here. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Now, do we have any further questions or discussion?
This is for awarding the project to HydroClean? Just wanted to confirm. Okay,
Full is what I heard.
Full.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
We have a
Cory,
mo-
you're comfortable with all this? Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Carol Young,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Ken Minell.
Yes.
Motion passed for the 2022 Elkhorn Sewer Rehabilitation Project. Discussion regarding proposed amendment number 1 to the Elkhorn Area Fire Department Service Agreement. Everybody seen that in their packet? We kind of talked about this last meeting, and we've had to move forward with this. Now we just need, if there's any question or anything, we can move forward and propose it to the other towns. Questions?
Rod, is that what you needed right there to move it forward?
It's more of a financing thing than it is a fire department. It's more of a financing thing than it is a fire department. I would say that, yes, that we do need that to continue the way we're processing. Hopefully they'll see it and sign it. I think there's some benefit for them to sign it and go with the amendment.
Yeah, I mean, really the big issue is just what to do with the prior agreement didn't really address the ambulance fees. And so that's really the purpose of this amendment, is just to make sure we're all understanding that there are these fees out there and that they should offset the expenses and that they should help cover the cost of capital purchases in the future.
Basically just cleaning up the agreement for our purpose too.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agreement.
Motion and a second to move forward. The, staff can move forward with this. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for the proposed amendment number 1 to the Elkhorn Area Fire Department Service Agreement. Next, I'll need a motion to adjourn into closed session, and we will reconvene in an open session for possible action on closed session items. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting, well, not meeting adjourned, but we'll go into closed session. Do I have a motion for possible action towards the Bay Managed Park Shelter Project?
I'll make that motion. Ward, can you give us the definition, please?
Sure. What my understanding is that the council was intending to direct city staff and the city attorney's office to enforce the agreements that we've reached regarding that project and to move to litigation if necessary.
That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.